welcome to episode 57 of the Calon podcast. My name is Lynn and I'm coming to you from Cardiff in Wales in the UK, and this is a knitting, spinning, sometimes crochet, sometimes dyeing, but always fibre-based podcast. How are you doing, everyone? I am so sorry it's taken me such a long time to provide this video. I think it's 6 weeks maybe since my last vlog, podcast, whatever you want to call it, so I do apologise. But yes, things have been quite crazy, quite manic, which I will let you know about at the end if you're interested, but I do apologise. Thank you so much for all those people that have sent me messages asking if you're okay. You might be able to hear I'm a little bit croaky at the moment. I have had the dreaded COVID, which is one of the issues why I haven't podcast for a few weeks. But yes, I am definitely on the mend now. My last day of isolation tomorrow. Yes! So yeah, I'm doing fine, absolutely fine. But a few curveballs have been thrown our way. And saying curveball like that, I can just see that already my battery is starting to flash. So I'm just going to change my battery. Where was I? Yes. Episode 57, long time since the last podcast. Do apologise. Been on holiday, been back at work, and been poorly. That's sort of the rapid roundup of what I've been up to. But yes, finally back on track, I think, with everything. Excuse me. So what have I been up to in terms of knitting and spinning, etc.? Quite a bit, but not so much. I'll explain a little bit further. Whilst we were away, we had 3 weeks in the Lake District, which was absolutely glorious. Haven't really been up there and explored properly ever, so it was nice to kind of spend some time up there. Was sort of planning to vlog and film, but actually we were just like, do you know what, let's just be in the moment. Let's explore with our eyes, not through the screen. So I didn't do a great deal of filming. The weather was beautiful. We had some gorgeous days. So we were out walking and seeing the sights, etc. So not a great deal of knitting time in the van. I took my spinner, my e-spinner. I think I did 1 day's worth of spinning because it was just so lovely. We were out all the time, wandering and exploring. So not a great deal to show you for that. But since we've been back, I've done a little bit more around and about the chaos that is work. It's always weird, isn't it, when you head back to work after a holiday? It's like you feel you've been thwacked around the head with a frying pan, really. So that's certainly how it felt for a couple of weeks. But I did manage to get some bits and bobs done. So my first thing I wanted to show you is this is my second everyday slouchy beanie. When we went away, I took 2 skeins of yarn, thinking by the time we finish this holiday, we will have 2 hats. Yeah, that really didn't happen. So this is towards the end of, I'm just decreasing now on this first one. So this is just a merino, excuse me, I think it's an 80% merino, 20% nylon. Have had in the stash for a long time. I think this was probably a Wonderwool purchase. Well, with COVID you forget, don't you? But a Wonderwool Wales purchase probably around 3-4 years ago now, maybe. Maybe more than that. Oh, it's too grim. Excuse me, I'm gonna have to take lots of sips of tea. Even though I feel fine, my throat is still a bit gravelly, so I think I sound worse than I feel, honestly. Yeah, so a long time ago, can't even remember the dyer, no label with the yarn, but it is this lovely kind of grey black, variegated I suppose. And the great thing about the Everyday Slouchy Beanie is it's by, where I have it here somewhere, it is by Dragon Horde Designs. I'll put the link below as always, but it has this double thickness rim, so you knit a good while, then you do a purl row, as a lot of folded back edges do, and then you sort of carry on with the main body of the work. So I have one of these already in a 4-ply with a strand of mohair, and it is really lovely, really cozy, but it just itches my forehead a little bit. So I wanted to make one without the mohair, so I have gone down a needle size, and I think I started the brim with a 2mm and then went up to a 2.25 once I folded it back. So it has made it the fold back bit, there's a little bit of give in it. I wonder when I do the next one whether I'll just keep to 2mm on the whole of the rib and then maybe go a little bit bigger for the rest of the hat, just so it's nice and snug. Nice and snug. This one is for my husband, so it's a little bit longer probably than mine will be, but it's a really nice slouchy fit. Yeah, so just about doing the decreases now. I've got this much left, so plenty of leftovers really for 100 grams skein. But yeah, it's a lovely cozy pattern, so I do recommend, especially if you are better with mohair than I am and you can have it on your forehead. It's a great thick cozy hat, and as I say, this doubled up rim means that it's really lovely and cozy around your ears, which is perfect timing actually, because what are we now? We're on the 1st of October, and yeah, it's been really wet, really chilly, starting to have to need the heating of an evening here in the UK. So that's one thing. So hopefully I should be able to finish that up this weekend and then start with my other one. Oh, I'll show you actually. This was the other skein of yarn that I was going to do mine in. So that one's for my husband. Did I put it in here? I think so. Excuse the rustle. Oh yes, I did put it in here. Sorry. Because this one is going to be mine. And this is very special. It is a Fru Valborg, and it is her halo sock. So it is 70% alpaca, 20% silk, 10% cashmere. Oh, so soft. Just so beautifully soft. Oh. And sometimes I'm a bit itchy with alpaca, but I think the silk will calm it down really, that silk and cashmere. But yeah, this is going to be my little beanie, because I don't know, I'm into my kind of autumnally greens and golds, etc. So I think this is perfect. It looks a little bit darker in the camera than maybe it is once I get close, but back here it's probably about right, the golds, etc. Yes, so this is the Canyon colorway by Fru Valborg. So once that one is done, I shall be casting on this little gem to be very cozy around my so delicate ears. Yeah, so that's what I thought I would get done whilst we were on holiday. No, nowhere near. So that is my two hats. That are my two hats. Oh, goodness me. Maybe I'm not feeling as well as I think I am. And then the other bigger project that I've been working on is the Felix Cardigan by Savory Knitting. I love this pattern. It's on 5-6mm needles, so it goes pretty swiftly. I'm doing it in my hand spun, which is, I think it's Yarnadelic Black Gold of the Sun. What a name is that, beautiful. 100% Corriedale, I think it is, and again, really, really soft. So I've spun this up. It is not even by any stretch of the imagination. So I've been doing it a row at a time to blend out my skeins. Some skeins are a little bit thicker than others, so I've done a row at a time to kind of balance that out. And it's not looking too bad actually in terms of texture. But I've hit a bit of a brick wall, and I'll explain why in a second. But I really, really like it. It fits beautifully. I have finished the sleeves. And I cinched in the sleeves. I went to, I think it was a 4mm needle on the sleeves, on the cuffs, because I just wanted it to be nice and cozy around my wrists. And on the 5mm, which I think is recommended, it was fine, but I knew it would stretch quite quickly. And I think because the yarn I'm using is possibly a little bit thinner than it should be for the project, I was aware that that rib would probably stretch stretch out quite quickly. So yes, I went down to a 4 on the cuffs, and so that should kind of keep them nice and snug around my wrists. So you do the cardigan. It is a cardigan. There's also a sweater pattern as well, which I may partake in. And then you add the button band. Now then, this is where I've kind of hit a stumbling block. Not a stumbling block, but I will have to do it again. So the button band, it says that you pick up and knit, as they do, along the right side, along the edge of the cardigan, and you pick up and knit 2 stitches for every 3 rows. So that's what I did, that's fine. So it doesn't give you an exact number, it just says that however long you've made it, you need to pick up 2 stitches for every 3 rows, which is what I did. But what I've found is that it has, because it's dark you can't quite see, but it's sort of concertinaed the edge of the cardigan. How am I going to show you this? Let's see. I have too few stitches, and so I can't see what you can see. I have no idea if you can see it. Let me do that. I have too few stitches, I think, for what I need, and so it has sort of compressed the edge of the cardigan. Now, looking at photographs, I think that is part of the pattern in a way, that it just compresses just a little bit, but I think it's been compressed too much. I think for the length that I have, I've got around 58 stitches, and I could probably do with, I don't know if you can see it, it's got that kind of curve in it. I could probably do with, I'm gonna say about 6 to 8 more, probably, just to even it out a little bit. And maybe I will cast off a little bit looser. It's only 6 rows, the button band, so it won't take me long to redo. But, you know, I would have had it done like that, but I thought, no, this is a conversation point. So I've waited until I've shown you badly my mistake. So yeah, so whilst it doesn't have a specific stitch count for the pickup, button band edge, I'm gonna do more than it says, every 2 stitches for every 3 rows. It hasn't given me quite enough, I think. So if you're doing the pattern, just have a little look. It's probably just me, but it may be when you get to that point, just keep an eye on what you're creating. Yeah, so I'm going to pull that back and do it again. Like I say, only 6 rows, so not a major issue. I don't think it won't take me too long. Excuse me. And then I'll be away, and then you match up with the other side in terms of making the buttonholes on the button band edge. I've got my safety pins signifying where I want my buttons. Excuse me. But yes, I will have another go at that, I think. So button bands on either edge, and then the collar, and then c'est fini. So I'm looking forward to wearing this one. It feels really cozy and comfy already, and I've got enough left, I think. But just lovely to use hand spun that is completely irregular, but when you put it into something, it's fine. So yes, those are my projects. Spinning wise, as I say, I think I did a day's or a couple of hours spinning on a site up in, where were we? I think we were just outside, where were we? It's not interesting to you, I can't remember. Windermere, I think we were at Lake Windermere. So yes, and it was nice actually, because I had quite a few discussions with people who were kind of passing, because I was sat outside with the e-spinner, and spoke to one of the campsite managers, one of the campsite wardens, I guess. Used to be a sheep farmer, so we had a good old discussion about the cost of fleeces, and how that they're not they're not worth very much these days. So yeah, we were talking about spinning and fleece and different sheep breeds, so that was fun. But yes, so I won't show you that because it's like barely anything on a bobbin, but I have been, since I've been back, getting on with my Yarnadelic, no, it's not Yarnadelic, it's Appledore spin from John Arbon Textiles, which is what my cardigan is made out of as well, fibre from John Arbon Textiles. And this is Appledore in Quench. So I've already spun up a skein of 2-ply. This is my second skein. This is a single ply bobbin, and yes, I shall be finishing up another bobbin that's on the wheel and then plying that together. I'm going to turn my phone off. What will this be, you ask? I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure really. I think I've got about 300-400 grams. I'm going to sneeze, excuse me. Don't you just hate that? I think I've got about 300 or 400 grams. No idea of the meterage really, but we'll have a little check once I've kind of washed and soaked and set it. But it's very pretty. It's very kind of juicy. I know it's called Quench anyway, but it does remind me of a packet of what do they used to be called? Not Quality Street. What do they used to be called? They're now called opal fruits, made to make your mouth water. Yeah, they remind me of opal fruits. What are they called now? I can't remember. Starburst, whatever. Opal fruits. Remind me of those kind of sweets, those sort of juicy colours. So yes, ticking away at that as well. I forgot to say what I'm wearing. What am I wearing, you ask? This is, I think this is an Isabel Kramer pattern. Very, very old now, just using up scraps really, but nice and cozy, and sort of because it's so many different shades of colour, etc., it kind of goes with anything. Yes, so what else was I going to say? Spinning, projects, purchases. So when we were away, that's the door. Hopefully my husband can get it. 1 second. I'm back. It was the postman. It's fine. So yes, what was I saying? Oh yeah, purchases. So didn't really find many yarn shops when we were out and about, but in Bakewell. God, that was dragged from deep, deep within. When we were in Bakewell, there was a lovely yarn shop there who stocked Peak District yarns. Is that going to focus? Hello. Peak District yarns. So I got myself this little skein, which I'll show you in a second. This is called Aloni Well Dressing, I believe. Aloni Well Dressing is the colourway. It is just a 80% merino, 20% nylon, high twist merino. So this is stuff that obviously she dyes herself. And again, very into the autumny browns, golds, oranges. Where's that other skein? It's almost like they do look quite similar in the camera. Do they look quite similar in real life? Yeah, I suppose. It's sort of, this one is sort of a dulled down version of this one, but they're both coming up as maybe a bit brighter than they are in real life. Or maybe I do myself a hat out of this one. No, this one, cashmere on the ears. Remember the cashmere? Yes, so I really, really like this. Again, tipping into the autumn phase. It is kind of going a little bit brighter than it should be. So no idea what this is going to become, but it's nice to kind of support a local dyer to that area and have something this pretty in one stash. So that's really the only yarn purchase I made whilst we were away. We were sort of hiking up mountains and walking around lakes, all in all. Yeah, so that's, in terms of fibreness and projects, etc., that's all my kind of check-in. I do apologise, there's nothing bigger than that. But it's been, yeah, it's been a bit of a crazy time. But we had a great time away, and this is sort of linked fibre in a way. We were up near Skipton, and there was this place called Soltaire. So we happened to be chatting to people on the campsite and saying, oh, where's nice to explore, where have you been that you've enjoyed? And they mentioned this place called Saltaire. And it is a UNESCO heritage site, and it's an old mill, an old woolen mill. So this was set up, if you love history and fibre and stuff, pay this place a visit. Pay it a visit anyway if you're in the area, because it's just a beautiful place. But it was set up by a philanthropist. Isn't that such a lovely title? We sort of say entrepreneur nowadays, but he was known as a philanthropist. So his name was Titus Salt, And he was in the wool trade, in the mill trade, and he realised, he made the connection that the health of his workers meant that he kind of earned more money in a way. So he was a philanthropist, and he was a humanist. He understood the importance of health and work and trying to make things better for workers. Dates wise, I'm always rubbish with dates. I'll put the dates in, I'll put the links below if you're at all interested. But yeah, so what he did was he built a mill just outside Skipton, as I say, called Saltaire. So it's his name, Titus Salt, and the Aire River. So he knew that he needed kind of water and a river to be able to, for the mill to run properly. But it was the first mill in this country that had all parts of the process under one roof. So the bringing the fleeces in, importing the fleeces, sorting and washing and scouring the fleeces, spinning the fibres into yarns, and then creating fabric, cloth from the yarns. So it was the first mill that had it all under one roof, and it's massive, it's huge. And then he also built housing for his workers. It was also by a canal, so they were able to import quite easily. It was also then next to a railway line, it was next to the river, so it was perfectly positioned. So built the mill, then built houses for his workers, cottages for his workers, and it's a beautiful little area, little cobbled streets, and you've got kind of the smaller terraced cottages, and then the slightly bigger houses at the end were for the foreman, the foreperson. So as your status grew, you kind of moved up to slightly bigger houses. But he understood that the workers needed hospitals, they needed schools. He was very, very a big advocate of educating everyone, children, women, etc. So he set up schools, and then he set up community halls and arts venues. He built a park to be enjoyed by all. So it's the whole town, or that part of the town of Soltaire is all built and based around this mill. It was fascinating. And the mill is now an art centre. David Hockney has an exhibition in there, and there's it's a bar and a restaurant, as well as being a museum about Titus Salt and his family and his impact on the area. And people are still living in the houses, so you can kind of wander around the town, and there are a few little shops. And it was a dry town, so he didn't have alcohol in the area. I'm sure that him and the people in charge had a few little dinner parties, etc., but there was no pubs, as it were. So there is a bar there now, excuse me, and it's called Don't Tell Titus, which I thought was very funny. But yeah, a few shops and a few galleries and art centres, really, really lovely. But it has his letters, and he was one of the first people. This is the link with fibre, I promise, stick with me. He has letters there, and he was one of the first people to import alpaca fleeces, alpaca fibre into the country. And he was writing to his funders or his cronies or whatever about how this great fibre that was alpaca, and he was hoping to create a cloth, to weave a cloth with the warp and the weft in alpaca. And I was reading this, and you go, oh, okay, this is interesting. And I was thinking, it's never going to work. Titus, no. Alpaca, no, the fibre's too short, it's too stretchy, it won't hold a warp and a weft. I thought you got it wrong there, Titus. And then reading through other letters about a couple of months later, he was like, yeah, hasn't quite worked, the warp and the weft in alpaca. I was like, you see, I told you it'd never work. So yeah, so they did I think it was the warp in alpaca, and the weft had to be in a more traditional, like a Cumbrian sheep, etc. So yeah, very interesting. The knowledge is in there somewhere. But it was fascinating place. So if you're in the area, do pop along. They do a lovely breakfast as well in the cafe, so you know. But yeah, that was really nice. So, and that's actually where I bought this cup, this lovely handmade cup from a local artist. A nice place to spend a couple of hours. So that's sort of what we did while we were away. We just kind of explored all these places and took recommendations from people who were on the campsites with us. So yeah, that is all the fibre. That's as much fibre links as I can create really with our holidays and with my project. So if you are leaving me here, thank you so much. Again, apologies for the big delay in getting back to you, but things have been certainly thrown in our way over the past 6 weeks or so. But if you're staying, what else have I been up to? So yes, been on holiday, back at work, frying pan bashed around the head, and then COVID struck. So we're both double jabbed here, but we've been all right. We've been not too bad. A couple of poorly days, but not too bad at all. But like I say, the throat and the blocked up nose has been the big thing. That's taken a long time to kind of come back to. I feel like I sound like I have a cold. I don't feel poorly, but I do. My throat does get dry quite quickly. So thankfully we've been quite well. Another day of isolation, and then back to the real world, back to outside. So I've had to be teaching online really these last couple of weeks, so I've had to kind of rejig everything to being online, and then all the students are back at university, and fresh as flu has taken hold, and then it's the concern of whether it's fresh as flu or whether it's COVID, blah blah blah. We knew it was going to happen, but it's here, it's struck. So yeah, but other than that, we are good. We had a really lovely time away, and I might pop some photos at the end if I can kind of get them off my phone. But we spent some time just being in the moment, which was lovely, and we did some wild swimming in the lakes, and we went on big walks, and just spent time really. A bit of reading, a bit of chilling. It was really lovely. Yeah. And an area that I don't really know very well. It's about 6 or 7 hours up for us in terms of driving. So it was, and I know in a lot of places that's not very long at all, but for us that's a way, that's a big way. So we don't get to go up that end too often. So it was nice to be able to make that trip and spend some time up there. And we saw this lovely lake, Derwent Water it was, and as we were walking around we found this lovely patch that was really calm and really lovely, and loads of people were out on their standing up boards, what are they called? Paddleboarding and kayaks and all that stuff. And we were like, oh, we should come here later when it's not as busy and maybe go for a little swim in the lake. So that's what we did, and it was gorgeous. The beach was abandoned and it was just dusk, it was just sunset and the sun was coming down. We went in, it was very chilly, but it was beautiful. And then Kieran said, oh, you know, maybe we should have gone skinny dipping or whatever. It was like, no, that really wouldn't have been a good idea. And a very short memory, because we did that once when we were on our honeymoon, when we were young and carefree, and we were on a Greek island and we found this secluded beach that in the guidebook it said was a nudist beach. There was nobody else there. So we were like, oh hey, yeah, we're just young and trendy and let's just have a little skinny dip. So we did, and it was lovely, beautiful. But whilst we were in the water, we didn't see, but a family arrived that clearly weren't aware if it was a nudist beach. Maybe it wasn't even a nudist beach. We'd got completely the wrong beach. So they were set up on the beach, and now we were of course in the water. And we had to get out of the water, back to our towels, etc. So yeah, very short memory, my husband. That was really embarrassing, awkward, and it was a bit of a stony beach as well, not elegant, hardly, you know, Instagram worthy at all. So yeah, we kind of got out of the beach, got our towels, got in the car and went. Those poor children, damaged for life probably. Yes, so funny how he was like, oh yeah, we should have gone skinny dipping. No, that doesn't go well. That does not go well. So we did laugh about that a lot. But other than that, quite an uneventful, calming, relaxing holiday. Yes, so blathering on now, revealing things I probably shouldn't reveal. I hope you guys are all well. I hope your projects and the fact that autumn is on the way, fall is on the way, and we can kind of start to cozy up a little bit more and maybe start to dig deep in our stash and find those projects that are giving us the cozy vibes, ready for the autumn. Heating on, We've had our wood burner fitted, so once I fire that up, I will show you some stuff about that. The coziness of fire and knitting, is there no better combination? And on that note, I shall leave you. Lovely to chat with you again, lovely to check in with you, and I will hopefully catch up with you in a much shorter period of time. So take care all, speak to you soon. Hwyl fawr, bye.